Hello everyone, welcome to another video by Draco Hobby Center. Today we're going to showcase the Edward Newgate deck for OP04, which was the winner of today's tournament here in our local tournament. It was a 10 people tournament, so a bit small, but nonetheless it beat the Crocodile, it beat a lot of big decks that are doing really well in the meta. And we have here the victory booster, so we're going to go ahead and open it up, see what we get really fast here. So we were expecting a Sentomaru, but no, we got a Nami, and she is really amazing. And look at that, it's what we've been looking for. Everyone was saying like, oh, that's a Sentomaru, you should just sell it. It's not going to be nice, but here is the winner, Nami, amazing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the deck. We all know Newgate, he's really good. So he's 6,000 power, 6 life. Every turn you get a life from your life to your hand. So pretty straightforward, and now we're going to showcase like the most important cards and how you should be playing them. We have, of course, the 3 restricted cards. So, oh god, okay, wait, we disorganized this. Okay, now we have the Marco. This is the blocker Marco that used to be really hard to deal with because he's a blocker, and then on KO you could trash 1 card with a Whitebeard type to play him back rested. So he was really good. Now you can only take 1. You should still take it because he's amazing. 1 Radical Beam. This was also really oppressive because basically Whitebeard was always trying to be left with no life, and then the Radical Beam was really easy to play then. And if you had 2 or 3 of those in life in your hand, it was really hard to finally KO Whitebeard. So it was a big blow, but it still works pretty well, and he only plays 1 now. And next we have the Whitebeard character. He's really good. Basically the turn when you play him, your Newgate is going to be 8,000 on your turn and also on your opponent's turn, so it's basically almost impossible to receive damage that turn. And also you don't put a life card into your hand, so it also gives you a bit more time. And then additionally, if he has 2 Dons attached and he attacks, he can KO something with power 3,000 or less, which is really good for closing up games, maybe dealing with that final pesky blocker or something like that, so really good. Next up we have the Searchers. We have 4 Isos. I always mix up this guy thinking he's a woman. But okay, he is Iso, and he's amazing. He's one of the old Searchers, so you can look at the top 5 cards from your deck, get a Whitebeard and put it in your hand. So standard Searcher for the Whitebeard deck, really good. And now we're gonna see the curve. So basically you always want to be playing Whitebeard going second and playing something on every single turn that's gonna give you a lot of power to hit your opponent. Basically you want to play turn 2 your Spit Jill. He's for 4 a 6,000, so that turn you have a 6,000, you can start attacking with a 6,000. Then on your 3rd turn you want to be playing a Attach, which is for 6 and 8,000. So that's basically the curve you want to be looking for when you go second. Spit Jill, Attach, Newgate, and just hit your opponent. That's going to be really hard to deal with because they're really big bodies. But this is also a deck that doesn't have a bad match when he has to go first. That's really important. Not like other decks we've seen, like Garp, that if he goes first, he's really bad because he doesn't have anything that he can play on curve when he goes first. But Newgate does. So basically we have King Dew, which we could play on our 3rd turn as well. So for 5 he's a 7,000. That's basically why we're playing him, so that we have a better match when we're going first. We also have the Marcos, so they're really good to play on curve as well when you're going first. If you're going second, this is a better curve. You should play this, then this, and then use Marco later on to kill the blockers and use him more as a finisher, where he comes in, applies pressure on your opponent, and also deals with the blocker. So if you're going first, nice on curve. If you're going second, prioritize your big buddies and then play Marco. Next up, we are having Ace. Ace is really good. When he comes in, he gives minus 3,000 power to 2 of your opponent's characters. So that's really nice when you're dealing with those 6,000 powered blockers, or when there's something you want to deal with, maybe an 8,000 or a 6,000 opponent character that you drop down and then KO it. So really nice. He also has Rush. So this is basically your curve when you're playing first. If you're not playing first, these guys, you want to save them up for maybe a bit more as finishers, because you want to be throwing in your other bodies first. Next up we have a pretty straightforward Fossa. He's a blocker, he's also a counter, so if you don't need blockers at the moment, just keep the counter. And if maybe you're going, you need another turn and you have the fusses in hand, just go ahead and play a bunch of them in the same turn that you know your opponent is not going to be able to deal with all of them. But if you're only going to play one, maybe it's not a good idea because your opponent is probably playing removal and you're giving him targets, cheap targets for it. So keep the counter unless you're going to play a bunch of them. But he's also really good, he's searchable, so nice blocker to have in the deck. Next up we have all the 2000 counters. As you can see, we play almost everything is a 2000 counter. You want to be oppressive with this part of the deck and then just defend a bunch with whatever you have left. So next up we have the Sanji. Sanji is really important for two matchups especially. He's a counter plus 2000 on most matchups except against Nami and against Yellow. So basically if you're playing against Nami, you want to apply a lot of pressure. So if you're going second, play Sanji on your first turn, then play Spidgel on your second, and then play Tatch on your third. And you're going to have a lot of attack power and you're going to be hitting her really, really hard and she's not going to be able to keep up. And also, and just grab a life with Sanji every single turn. Nami's not going to have enough attackers to deal with your life, so don't really worry about taking all your life really fast. And then against Yellow, play him at the end. So basically when you have 2 life left or 1 life left, play him, get a life, and then use your leader's ability to get the other. And when your opponent has 8 done or 10 done, you don't want to have life left. That's basically what you're looking for, so that his big moms don't have as much an effect on the match as they would have otherwise. Because if he plays a big mom, you can choose that you trash a life trash a life, but you don't have any life, so it doesn't matter. And if he plays the 10 cost big mom, he's gonna get a life, but he's not gonna take one of your life, so that's basically making his effect at 50%. So really good Sanji against those 2 matchups, and if not, still really good because he's a counter 2. So very, very good Sanji. And now we can play our super premium Sanjis, which are really, really cool. Look at that artwork, so amazing. So a great opportunity to bring out those Sanjis we were playing in OP1. Next up we have the Josus. He's most of the time going to be a counter plus 2000, but it could also be a surprise because he has rush. So in case your opponent stayed with only 1 life because you only have Nugget in play, and he's thinking, oh, he's not going to kill me because he doesn't have rush. If he plays an ace, I can block a 7000 and a 6000. It's not that bad. You can surprise him with a Josu. So take that into account, but he's normally going to be a counter plus 2000. Next up we have the Makinos. 1 cost, counter plus 2000. She can be really good for closing games. Okay, next up we have the Otamas. Otama is really, really good as well. She's a counter plus 2000, so she's usually again going to be a counter plus 2000, but she also gives minus 2000 power, so she's really good combined with Whitebeard and with Marco. If there's something cost 5 that you have to deal with, it's okay to play your Otama and then play your big guys to deal with it. Maybe you have to KO a big blocker, you can play Otama, attack with the Newgate, get rid of the blocker, and then it's game probably. So really nice double ability. Basically all of them have double abilities that are really important. Makino is also really good as a closer. So if you have the ISO, probably they're not going to deal with the ISO because he's small and nobody's going to want to KO it just because of it. There's some games where he's not thinking the ISO is a threat, and then for 2 dawn he goes up to 8000, or for 3 dawn he goes up to 11000, and suddenly he has a really big body to deal with, and that's going to be for really, really cheap with a Makino. So also really, really good as her second ability. Next up we have the events. Apart from the radical beam, we have 4 guard points, pretty straightforward, takes us up to 9000, so really, really good. And we have 2 red hawks, trying to replace the radical beams we lost, and also doubling up as a removal because it removes something with power 4000 less, so you can deal with a blocker or with something that he's trying to keep safe, maybe a searcher or something like that. So really nice, the Red Hawk. And at the end, we also have 1 Crossfire. Crossfire has an ability in the main and in the counter, so she doubles up to improve our Newgates and the Marco ability, and also to really affect those cards that can ready up, like the Black Luffy, that they can really power him up and then ready him twice. So with Crossfire, you can give him minus 4000 and he's not as big of a threat. So there you have the deck. Really, really nice deck. It's winning a lot of tournaments, so it's really, really worth it. Give it a try. It's also a pretty cheap deck. You can get a lot of the cards for cheap. Now that you don't have to get the 4 Nugets that were really expensive, it's a bit easier to build. and it's really fun as well. New 80 is an amazing character, so go ahead and try it and tell us in the comments how you did with him. And remember to subscribe, like, and share this with your friends. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.